Today I would like to share my reflections and discussion on a bed from Sir Leela Chanesar. Sir Leela Chanesar offers a very good deal of thought on the story reflecting human behavior, human relationships, and separation of human relationships and by mistakes and then realization of mistakes and then through those realization of mistakes, self-realization and self-recognition. So Shalatif, in the narrative of Leela, tries to teach many lessons for human behavior to make it very much fluctuate and to make it very much conducive and tolerable. Shabdalati Bitai says, Goryo so sohag dehme pase paan ke. Goryo so sohag dehme pase paan ke, renounce that marital good fortune in which you see only yourself. Dore laho dohag jeh karalahu dasro. Seek the separation that makes Dasro lower his pride, turn back towards to you. So this is very beautiful beth and it offers different aspects of human behavior. Goryo so sohag, to renounce, to withdraw that union and that sohag, that marital good state, where there you see only yourself, and that is pride or proud to see only oneself, and then seek even that dohag. Uh, Dasro likes the dohag, you must seek that dohag. So, linguistically, it starts with goryo, to renounce or reject. Goryo is decisive opening verb. It does not simply mean look at here in this proverbial poetic construction. It carries the sense of rejecting, discarding, or giving up something considered undesirable. Guru, to sacrifice, leave it. Thus, Shab begins not by praising Suhag, but paradoxically saying, reject the kind of Suhag. Guru so Suhag. This creates the Beth central paradox, Suhag or marital fortune. Guru so Suhag. So sacrifice that Suhag, sacrifice that marital fortune. Conventionally, Suhag signifies marital good fortune, the blessed state of having one's husband, conjugal fulfillment, or the status of a loved wife. Its opposite is Duhag or separation, estrangement, or the condition resulting from the husband's displeasure. The Sindhi lexicon also records Duhag in connection with a husband's anger or estrangement from his wife. So Shalatif deliberately constructs a semantic opposition, Duhag and Sohag, union and separation, possession and loss, security and vulnerability, Jehme pase panke, in which you see yourself. This is perhaps the most psychologically important phrase. Panake pasan really means you see yourself. The problem is therefore not Sohag itself. The problem is self-consciousness within privilege. Leela sees herself as the privileged wife. Leela sees herself as the beautiful woman. Leela sees herself as the possessor of relationship. Leela sees herself someone entitled to the beloved's attention, and that is the to see only yourself. Thus, comes a key philosophical word, and in this way, one becomes very much obsessive with that pawn, and that pawn is the negative form of self. The poem moves from pawn to sohag and eventually towards Dasro and Duag. In other words, Shah Abdul Latif shift the focus from self to beloved. The extraordinary paradox of the second line, Dore love Duhag. However, Duhag is very much derogatory thing and unliked and disliked thing. And despite of that, Shah Abdul Latif Bhitai advises that to seek that duhag, dore love duhag, to seek, to find that duhag. The verb dore means to seek, search, pursue, explore. So Shah says something deliberately shocking, seek separation, seek duhag. Ordinarily, a person seeks suhag and avoids duhag, but Shah Latif reverses ordinary worldly logic. Why? It is point of to be discussed that why Shah Latif thinks in a different way. Because possessing the beloved has made Leela possessive of herself. Possession of the beloved and possession of all of the luxuries of life destroys the very inner self and sophisticatedness of human behavior. So, in this way, Leela has entrapped into that self and possessiveness. Separation may destroy that illusion. Dasro, Chanesar as the beloved. Dasro is a poetic epithet for Chanesar in Leela Chanesar. The Sindhi dictionary explains, identifies it as circumdocumentary name of Chanesar, and Chanesar had that surname. The Dasro belongs to the poetic and emotional vocabulary of the beloved, and it has been turned into diminutive, but it is liked or praiseworthy diminutive. The second line therefore turns from Leela's Pan towards Dasro. The moment is central to the entire spiritual leading. The linguistic architecture of the Beth is a remarkable internal structure. First line Swa, second line Doha, possession, separation, Pan or self, and Dasro are beloved, comfort and suffering, worldly security, and spiritual vulnerability. The two lines are therefore not simply telling a domestic story, they dramatize a movement of consciousness. The first time you see yourself, the second line or second stage, you seek the beloved. This is the transformation. Firstly, you are entrapped into possession, and then you are liberated by the love, and you are seeking your beloved. Philosophical interpretation of the this Beth will be that the Beth is critique of the ego. The deepest philosophical idea is self-centeredness. Leela's mistake was not merely that she desired the necklace. The necklace became a symbol of external value. She thinks that ornament, beauty, and possession can increase her worth in the eyes of Chanesar. Shah's wider treatment of Leela's repeatedly associates her error with pride, cleverness, and attachment to outward adornment. One traditional commentary can express it that interprets Beth as a warning against abandoning higher principles for temporary advantage. However, it is again matters that material things does not matter, relations matter, and that commitment we made with the person, with the soil, with the creator, that matters. So, thus external ornament, self-consciousness, ego, and then alienation. The spiritual alternative is loss, humility, self-recognition, longing, and reunion. Why does Shah says seek separation? Dore laho doha. This is the most profound philosophical question. Separation or dohag becomes a school of self-knowledge. When Leela possesses Chanesar, she can remain absorbed in Pan or myself. But when she loses him, she discovers I am not complete in myself. The experience of the absence exposes the illusion of autonomous selfhood. This is very close to the Sufi understanding of ego transformation. The loss of the beloved becomes the discovery of the self, and ultimately, in mystical interpretation, the discovery of limitations of the self opens the way towards beloved. The Sufi dimension of this myth, although immediate narrative concerns Leela and Chanesa, Shah frequently uses human love stories as vehicle for universal spiritual ideas. Scholarship on this myth is that apparently worldly characters carry broader philosophical and spiritual meanings. Leela can therefore be read at the two levels. Literal level, a wife loses her husband because of pride, desire, and attachment to an ornament. Mystical level, the human being becomes separated from divine beloved because of ego, attachment, and self importance. The necklace can consequently symbolize material possession, social status, beauty, pride, and external identity. And Rohag can symbolize existential crisis, spiritual deprivation, and longing, repentance, the breaking of ego. Pan is the key philosophical word. Pan. I would like particular emphasis on the Pan. Shah could have said simply that fortunate wife sees her husband or enjoys her marriage instead of "Deh mein pase paan ke," in which you see yourself. The beloved has almost disappeared from the first line. That is the problem. Shah says that if you are thinking that being a Leela, you are complete in yourself, then it is your misunderstanding and misconception. You are incomplete without Chalesa. So don't think only yourself. Jehme pase panake, ghoryo so sohag, jehme pase panake. Leela is apparently in relationship with Janesa as a wife, but psychologically she has become absorbed in herself within the relationship. This is a sophisticated critique of ego even inside love. One can possess a relationship and still fail to experience love. Contemporary philosophical relevance of this myth will be that the myth is striking relevance to modern life because it focuses on relationships. A relationship can become an instrument for confirming one's own importance rather than a space of mutuality. Materialism, the necklace, represents the modern tendency to measure worth through possessions, appearances, and status. Social media, the phrase "Pashe paan ke," you see yourself, can almost be read as critic of today's cultural of self-displays and self-image and self-praise and self-posing and such type of populist discourse, ego and leadership. Privilege can produce entitlement. Losing privilege can sometimes becomes the beginning of self-creation. Emotional maturity. Sometimes separation reveals what possession conceals. Spiritual psychology. The crisis of losing what we identify with can become an opportunity to discover who we are beyond possessions and status. The central philosophical formula of Beth will be in this consequence: Mahbub, beloved, then Arji or humility, then recognition or sunyana, then Duhag or separation, then Guru or proud, and then self, and then Sohag. So that makes the Beth very much more than a lesson about marital conduct. It is a philosophy of transformation through laws. Everyone teaches us lessons without having any profit. However, Shabdulati Bitai suggests that there is the philosophy of transformation even through laws. A strong thesis in this way is hidden that Shah Abdul Latif transforms a Leela's marital tragedy into philosophy of self-transcendence, the relationship that allows the ego to see itself must be renounced, while separation can become the very experience through which the self discovers the beloved. So, in this way, this presentation can conclude that the narrative or character of Leela moves from one state to the other, from self-made to self-recognition, the philosophy of separation, and we can see that when separation becomes a path to the beloved, so it is very heart-touching way that teaches us the dark side of the human behavior. Koryo so sohag. Everyone is attached and absorbed in the sohag, in the union. However, Shah Latif says that leave that sohag, sacrifice that sohag, Koryo so sohag. And then in the last, he suggests duhag or separation. Do re love duhag. Seek and found that duhag. What type of duhag? Duhag is of type that is liked by the Dasro, by Chanesar. The things that are liked by, those are liked by Chanesar or Dasro, you may find those things, you may observe those things. So in this way, this Beth is very much beautiful and heart-touching and teaches us different lessons of human behavior. The Goryo so sohag, jeme pasen panak. So the only self is not complete. Human self is incomplete. So you must seek the completion of yourself into even in separation. And after that separation, you reach the point, that point teaches you to be self-recognition or self-realized. When you realize yourself and your potential, then it becomes very much easy to behave as a human being. And being a human being, we need to focus on every dimension of human behavior, from hardship to the elasticity to the fluctuation. Human behavior is not hard and fast or such thing that we may not change it, because it's human. It's human intention and wish and desire, and that thing leads us sometimes towards negativity and sometimes towards abyss. We can avoid that negativity and that abyss by adopting such type of good behavior in our life. Thank you very much. You have watched me and kindly share your feedback too. Thank you very much.